All right, ladies and gentlemen, they got him. Ahmed Khan Rahami. He's apparently the guy who did the bombings in New York and New Jersey. So there's a reason why I'm doing this recording this morning, and it's to tell you to not believe the government. Now, here's what I mean by that, because the distinctions here are important, okay? So on Saturday night, I find out there's a bombing in New York. That explosion happened right on the same block, basically, as where one of my best friends lives in Manhattan, okay? Now, that's where he lived. He had moved a week ago. So in a panic, I called around and I asked if he's okay, and he's okay. He was in a different location. His family was in a different location. There was also a bombing in New Jersey on the shore. My family's in New Jersey, etc., right? So then the government comes out and says, oh, no, the two bombings are unrelated to the best of our information. And the bombing in New York was, quote, intentional, but there is no further threat to the city. And so I went on Twitter and then I did a video that was somewhat related to that, where I talked about it a little bit, where I said, I don't believe them. Now, here's why I said I don't believe them. Because how could the bombing be intentional at the same time you haven't caught the guy and then you tell me there's no further threat? Like, it's just, it not only ruins their credibility, but it withers trust in the government when you say things that it appear to be on their face fairly obviously untrue. So, and then the other question I asked was, how could you know the New Jersey and New York bombings are unrelated? They happened today. One happened during the day, the other one happened at night. How do you know all that for sure? Now, the reaction on Twitter, and you can go on my Twitter feed and see it, a lot of people are like, oh, Jake, you don't know anything, man. The authorities know. The authorities know. They know that's not connected. They have information you don't have. Just trust them. Just believe them, right? Now, that wasn't all the comments, but that was certainly a big chunk of it. And my point isn't like the government is always wrong, and I know people think that, and there's always some sort of conspiracy afoot, etc. My main point was, look, we don't know for sure, and some people are now saying, hey, Cenk, you're starting to sound like Donald Trump, which I actually, in this case, I don't think is that unfair a point, because Trump went and said he thought it was a terrorist attack. Now, I didn't say that. I said, and there is an important distinction here, we don't really know, and I'm not going to take the government's word for it because their government's word doesn't seem logical. Whereas he came out, oh, that's terrorism, I know it, I know what's happening, okay? Hey, you should bring it down too, because you really didn't know. But I say it's not that unfair a point because, yeah, it's the least offensive thing Trump has done. Logically, a bomb goes off injuring 29 people in New York. You wonder if it's terrorism. Okay, so we should be focused on the issues at hand instead of trying to take credit or whatever Trump thinks he's doing for it. But again, I don't think that's that big a deal for Trump. But my point, and the reason I'm doing this video is, guys, everybody has their own purpose, and the government has their own purpose. And in this case, it's actually not a nefarious one. They don't want people to panic. They don't want people to flip out and make assumptions. But I don't think it helps their cause to say things that seem patently ridiculous, and then we have trouble believing you on anything. So it would have been perfectly okay to say, hey, listen, it just happened. We haven't solved it yet, but we actually have some decent clues, and we're on it. Guys, we're on it, right? But don't panic. We got this. At the same time, we haven't caught the guy yet. It's okay to be honest like that. And I don't think people are going to rip their hair out and run in the streets. But when you go around saying, oh, they're not connected, and then the next day you say, oh, oops, they're connected. Well, then you can see why people have distrust in the government. Okay, and then now I put out on Twitter, hey, look, turns out our skepticism was warranted. It largely was PR, what the officials were saying the other day. And now people are like saying, oh, Jake, everybody knew that. But wait a minute. No, you guys, some of you are the same guys. Some of you are not the same guys. That literally said the exact opposite the day before. Oh, Jake, don't be ridiculous. Trust the government, right? Now saying, don't be ridiculous. Of course we didn't trust the government. Okay. Look, the answer is not in either extreme. The government is not always lying. The government is certainly not always telling the truth. But the most important thing is we are supposed to be the media. The media isn't supposed to trust the government. The media is supposed to question the government. We're supposed to verify what they're saying. And to me, whoever says on Twitter is far, far less important than how the media treats it. So these days, unfortunately, when the government puts out a quote unquote official position or a statement, the media treats it like it's, came up from up above. Don't question it. The government said it. That must be true. It's official, right? No, we're supposed to do the opposite. If the government says it, we're not supposed to blindly trust it. We're supposed to challenge it. So this is just a small example of that. Okay. Now, also, they got him. Great work. Give the government credit where it's due. Nice job, authorities in New York and New Jersey, in catching him. Thank you. My family, my friends live there, and I'm super glad you caught him.